am 3+Kei, your favorite social worker. Welcome back. I'm here to encourage you to pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, your physical health, and persistent education. I was just talking to a friend about rebranding the favorite social worker. My hair is all over the place. Rebranding the favorite social worker as the honest Christian. I have renamed, if you look in my playlist, these live streams didn't have any type of name to them, or they weren't on a playlist. It was on off script, which is like my random videos that don't have to do with anything. I just want to tell you guys something, and so I put it in the playlist off script. But I took the videos from these live streams, and they're now under the Secret Heart Club. And the Secret Heart, hey, Big Booty Scott, the Secret Heart was an idea for a podcast I had 4 years ago. And the idea was, as Christians, we are still in the world and have to deal with real life situations that we may or may not have a biblical response to. And so the Secret Heart podcast was meant to just kind of be a sounding board. Like, yeah, these are situations. Dating is hard. Being in the workplace is hard. Having kids is hard. I totally screamed and snatched up my child today. That's not godly. You know, can we talk about that and encourage one another toward Christ while acknowledging our humanity and vulnerability as far as being people, and sinful people at that. So that was the concept of the Secret Heart podcast. And I've started to kind of dip and dabble in that with the live stream. I do long form videos that are definitely more like biblically based, but there's no one to interact with. So this live stream came out of me being depressed and live streaming my depression. And because I pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, my physical health, and persistent education, what this has been over the course of weeks is me coming back into myself and me returning to God as well by prioritizing these three things. And so anyway, I renamed. So there's the Secret Heart podcast, which is just the audio version of these live streams. And this live stream that you're in right now, this space, is now called the Secret Heart Club. So, you know, as the saying goes, like, come as you are, but don't stay as you are. You know, we look upward in this space. We look toward God in this space while recognizing our humanity. So Big Booty Scott's in here, first fan, hey! So part of how I started this live stream, also, I was learning how to play ukulele very slowly, and then sure enough, people came in. There's the usual suspects. Shannon, hey! And Big Booty Scott. Shannon is here, and she called me Key. Do we know each other, Shannon? I'm trying to place the last name because I know some Shannons. I'm not gonna blast out their last names here, but let me know if you let me know how we know each other if you do know me in real life. Bestie. So what we did yesterday, we learned how to play Happy Birthday because people come in here and they're like, it's my birthday. And I absolutely adore that people come into this space and feel comfortable enough to be like, it's my birthday. So while I haven't learned how to play any songs on this ukulele yet in 4 weeks, I did promise this little girl who turned 9 that I would learn how to play Happy Birthday on the ukulele. And so yesterday that was accomplished. So let's just run it from the top. Run it from the top, sing along with me. Let's hit it with the one time, and it is. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear first fan. Happy birthday to you. Yes, shout out to Lauryn Hill. Yeah, what did I name this? Oh, what are your God-given gifts? That's been a topic of discussion lately. So, in my small group, like Bible study group, we're reading this book called Serve by Steve Robbins. And in a second, I'm going to read to you what the God-given gifts are. They're broken into 3 categories, which are service, something, and influence. So I'm going to read it, get into it or don't. I'm going to read it either way and let me know what you think about it. So it says in Romans 12, Paul lists the following gifts: prophecy, service, teaching, exhorting. Exhorting means encouraging, giving, leading, and acts of mercy. In 1 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10, he mentions, in addition, the gifts of wisdom, knowledge, faith, gifts of healing, working of miracles, prophecy, the ability to distinguish between spirits, various kinds of tongues, and the interpretation of tongues. In verse 28, we also read about the gifts of helping and administration. Paul explains that God gives some gifts so that people can take up specific roles in the building up of the church. The roles listed in verse 29 are apostles, prophets, and teachers. And in Ephesians 4, 11 through 12, he also lists evangelists and pastor shepherds who are to equip the church for ministry. All the gifts mentioned in the New Testament can be loosely placed into 3 categories. The first 2 categories are the gifts of speaking, often seen publicly, and then gifts of serving, the gifts often done in private. Every gift, including speaking, is a form of serving God and the church. The gifts of speaking are often self-explanatory, like preaching, Bible teaching, leading a Bible study, counseling, evangelism, music, and so on. The gifts of serving are the things that are not often seen, but are vital to the life of the church, such as, in a typical 21st century church, the church accounts, administration, hospital visits, cleaning, moving chairs, giving gifts, making meals, opening your home, funding projects, praying, audiovisual skills. The list is endless. The third category, mentioned in Ephesians 4, highlights what we would label gifts of influence in the church, which goes forth as to say, and he gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the shepherds, and teachers to equip the saints for the work of ministry, for building up the body of Christ until we all attain to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to mature manhood, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, verses 11 through 13. These serving through leading roles are given by God to create the environment for others to flourish in, and certainly not an opportunity for others, for opportunity to lord it over the rest of the church. We often wrongly assume that these kinds of roles put a person in a higher echelon and means they don't have any of the behind the scenes gifts or shouldn't engage in less glamorous areas of service. So the three categories of gifts are speaking, serving, and then gifts of influence. And I wonder, for you guys, what that might be for you. I think just rereading that again, mine would probably be the gifts of speaking. I talk a lot. I don't always, there's a saying, like, don't pat yourself on the back, let somebody else pat you on the back. So I don't maybe subscribe to being the primo public speaker, but I speak and connect for a living, and I do that. I also have this YouTube channel encouraging people toward Christ and humility, I suppose. So I suppose in that broad category, I would have a gift of speaking, and I just wonder, and a gift of, I would say if I had a gift, it would be the gift of presence, to sit there with people, meeting people professionally, meeting people where they are. I deal with all sorts of people who make all sorts of decisions, right? And you guys know that, like, our lives, though the Lord is sovereign over our lives, we still have free will. So wherever we're sitting today is the culmination of many decisions and choices that we made prior to today. And that can be a hard pill for people to swallow. You know what I mean? Like, whenever you're like, I'm not a millionaire, it's like, well, did you do things to become, I mean, did you make certain choices? Did you seek out a mentor? And, and I'm not a millionaire, but I can, there's a reason I chose social work. What? Being a millionaire isn't like a choice. My actions don't reflect that that's what I want. So, you know what I mean? Hi, Luciano. I love that name. Luciano Juarez. Woo, that's a good name. That's a strong, I really like strong names. That's a strong name. Luciano Juarez. It's like the name of the name of somebody that's done something or that's going to do something. Being a millionaire doesn't, this is Big Booty Scott says, being a millionaire doesn't make you happy. It's what you can buy. Yeah, money's a tool. Money is a tool. So, yeah. And just because you have money doesn't mean you have a quality of life. You could have money and be a drug addict. You could be a functional drug addict, which is, I think, the worst kind of hell there is. Because nobody knows that you're suffering and that you're covering it up with substances. But you have the money and you're functional enough, like, to hold a job. So you're like slowly dying from the inside out. I think that's one of the worst existences there could be, is a functional addict. You know what I mean? Without judgment. This isn't me judging. I'm just saying, like, I think that would be terrible. Trying to empathize. I have compassion for that scenario. You understand success. I think success to me would be financial stability, which for somebody like me isn't like, I mean, the thing I think about most financially is a solid and stable retirement package. And I tell people this all the time. If you guys are like me, you're a free spirit. You just do the things, you go where the wind takes you. And I tell people that all the time, even if you want to be homeless, like you want to live on the beach and do art, plan for your retirement. $500 a month going into your Roth or whatever, your investments, $500 a month now, and $500 isn't a lot of money to like make. You could work part-time every week, or I mean, you could donate plasma and get $500 a month. So you could technically not have a job at all and do that. And then you're planning for your future, because a point will come, and that's where we're at now with the boomers, is you didn't financially plan, and the state, all the nursing homes are overrun. There's a waiting list. PCAs make minimum wage. So even if you have somebody coming into your home, you have to deal with somebody who has their own stress and troubles. You know what I mean? Custom Tailored says that's absolutely solid advice. Yeah. Do your thing. Do your thing if that's what you want. Plan for your retirement, because a day will come when you can't work anymore. And then what does it look like? We don't pay our nursing home staff. It's barely over minimum wage. And so if somebody, for those of you, I don't know who hear what you're making, but if you're making anything less than like middle class income, you have stress. Rent is unstable. The rental market is terrible right now. But that's the only choice you have unless you own your home. And then you have property taxes. Those keep going up. You know, One Cup, Two Bears says, my bill was a homeowner in Arizona, $3,000 a month without food and car maintenance and insurance. Exactly. That's $36,000 a year. It's hard out here, you know. But the good thing is, and no offense at all to anyone who doesn't live in North America, but we truly are the land of opportunity, and I think that gets lost in translation with all of our political mess. No matter which side you're on, you're upset about something constantly. Your boy Joshua, First Fan, what are you saying? First Fan, say it again. I'll pay attention. But yeah, we live in the land of opportunity. So if you want to go make money, go make some money and be focused more on the back end of retirement than what you've got going on now. And if you do have a little bit of money, like a little bit of cushion, you can take more risks. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know people have this thing about not wanting roommates, but like, that's a solid freaking way to get your bag up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, and then every time I post it sometimes, like a short that says donate plasma and go to the food bank, I get so many dislikes on those videos. I was just looking at one today. I had 11 likes, and then 66% of people, I only had 66% likes. So 33% of the people hated the advice of going to donate plasma and going to the food bank. And it's because it's an ego issue. Biblically speaking, it's a pride issue. You think you're better than that. None of us are. Who are you? Unless you're making like $100K a year, you better figure it out. Look at New York, right? Sorry I was late. Your boy Joshua, I'm just glad you're here. A roommate can save your life. Yeah. Oh, First Fan, I can't look at your profile while I'm on here. Oh, you mean your picture? Is that you? Is that you looking cute? I love when you guys post your pictures. It's the sweetest thing. Or go get a husband, or as a man, a trade skill. Here's the thing with that. Sometimes people get on here talking about, do you have a boyfriend? The men come. I think a partner, not even like, and by partner I mean a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife. If you are not evenly yoked, you're in for more of a headache than what you want, right? So like for me, number one, a godly man. And I don't mean just I believe in God. That doesn't cut it for me. I mean a man that knows his word. You don't necessarily have to know more than me, but we would just need to be evenly yoked in that area. And then money doesn't matter, but I'm in my bag, so I need a man that wouldn't like get in my way of getting the bag. I might have glasses, son. You need a man that makes you scream Jesus, right? Oh, wait, you got me. You got me. Let's see. God is God, and God can be anything. I don't know about. Oh, I think I see your point. I think I know your heart by now, Big Booty Scott. God can be anything and is everything. But yeah, so God-given gifts. Speaking over here, when I first moved back to Montana, I wanted so bad to do the like gift of hospitality thing. And it's not in me. As it would turn out, I don't want anybody at my house. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't. I got a wraparound couch. I got one of those I got like a really big couch. Like my couch fits 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people comfortably. I got that kind of couch because I was like, I'm going to do Bible study. I'm going to invite people over to do Bible study. And then here's what happened. My friend's boyfriend came over to like fix the dryer or whatever he was doing. And he used the bathroom and didn't wash his hands. And when I tell you, he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but hygiene. And then it dawned on me that people have different levels of hygiene that I'm not willing to accommodate in my home. Touching all my stuff with your dirty hands. I cannot. And even, you guys don't know me, but even when I go out into like somebody else's home, I'm on that type of time of like, I'm going to wash my hands more frequently than if I were at home. Because you don't know. And there's no shade. When you're at home, you do your home stuff. You fart, you burp, you scratch, you do all sorts of things. And that might even include not washing your hands but don't come over to my house with all that. Let's see. My God is Jesus. If you want to live for his enemy, the devil, that's on your soul. Right. And it's also on us. We're called to go ahead and, bye, First Fan. Bye, First Fan. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams. We're called to go forth and make disciples of the nations. So it's not only like if you don't believe in God, you're just on your own. That's not what it is. It's you don't believe in God. Let me demonstrate the love of God to you through service, speaking, influence, something like that. And ultimately point you toward Christ. And I think one thing we kind of get twisted as Christians, we're not the ones saving souls. I just talked to a friend about this, and she was saying she's very frustrated with Christians right now in response to immigration. And she kind of hit the nail on the head that, like, it's not Christians that are anti-immigration. It's actually people who may or may not be on their faith walk that say that they're Christians, that are adhering to a principle of, if you're an other, you don't belong here. That's what it is. I likened it to, like, I don't know where you guys are, but in colder states, so like in the Midwest, on the East Coast, and then where I'm at, Montana and the Dakotas, Wyoming, Utah, where it gets very, very cold, all the women are strong. We're strong women. And the reason why is because when it's cold outside, like how it gets in Montana, something that is outside inevitably needs to get inside. And your excuse that you're a woman doesn't fly. Like, you need to be outside getting the wood, getting the groceries, getting the things, right? So, like, you can't really be like what I think the stereotype of like a meek and submissive woman. In these colder states, that's not a thing. Like, you better get out here and help, and you better be capable. Men want that, right? And so what I was saying is, like, women in warmer states sometimes have the luxury of doing like the meek submissive thing because there's nothing for you to get. Like, you just come inside. There's more to it when you live in more colder climates, right? And it's no shade against that. But anyway, I was saying some women in that regard weaponize their femininity. And so a man I've known plenty of men, right, that are like, all women should be meek and submissive to me. And what the wording, because we're called to be submissive to our husbands anyway, but the word would be more like weak. You know what I mean? Like physically weak and verbally meek. There are men that think all women should be like that. And there are women who will weaponize their femininity and not contribute as much as they could because, oh, I'm a little dainty woman, right? Just in that regard, one woman or one group of women or thousands of women don't define every woman ever. And it's the same with Christians. One Christian that is bad, ill-behaved, and or groups of Christians, supposedly, that are ill-behaved don't represent us that are truly on our faith walk and attempting to serve the Lord and serve others in the church. Let's see. No, we must be strong as humans. Right. That's the part of me encouraging you toward physical health. That's part of this channel, encouraging you toward the Lord, physical health, and persistent education. Strong bodies equal strong minds. And biblically speaking, our bodies are our temples. So you don't throw trash around in the temple. I was at my church the other day, and I was volunteering, and the connections director gave me a sandwich, and I said, where should I eat this? Can I eat this in the sanctuary? And she was like, no, you can eat it in my office, or you could eat it in this other office. And so the point is, you don't eat in the sanctuary. You respect the sanctuary. You don't throw trash around and get all sorts of sauces and whatnot. And your body is the same. You want to make sure that your body is built up and has strength to it, and you're not disturbing your equilibrium. We can lose 50 pounds, Sen. I don't know what that means. I wasn't. I was busy chatting away. Busy chatting away. But what about you guys? What are your, or I guess, have you thought about your spiritual gifts? Have you thought about it? Because the Lord gives us our gifts for the purpose of building up the church. And then the overflow goes into the rest of society. What do I know about fasting? I don't know if you mean from like a Christian perspective. It's encouraged. Fasting isn't for everybody because our bodies metabolize differently. So I'll use myself as a context. I strive to have like a small snack, maybe like a piece of fruit or some pistachios every 2 hours. My body does not metabolize. I get lightheaded and close to incoherent when I don't eat. So, and I was actually just talking to one of the pastors at my church about it. Fasting is encouraged, but it's a discipline. And the purpose of fasting as a Christian is to remove the distraction of food and lean on the Lord for that comfort and that satiation. I don't take health advice from sick doctors. As an electrical engineer, or wouldn't hire you to paint my house. Yeah. Being nice and being very patriotic of the USA. Is that what you're saying your gift is, Scott? So, Big Booty Scott, if I could, the being nice part might be the service to others. So remember, the three groups are speaking, service, and influence / leadership. So being nice, maybe think about how it is that you serve the people around you and in your community, and how you can continue to do that. And being very patriotic has its, I don't think there's really anything wrong with that, as long as we're not like blindly following. We should blindly follow nothing or no one but Christ. And I think that's an issue with our politics in the United States, is that we like take a politician and they're like a celebrity. And I'm not just talking about Trump. I'm talking about when Biden or Kamala or Hillary or whatever, Barack Obama, right? We've kind of done this like celebrity thing with our presidents, and I don't think that's right. I got Commander, Big Booty Scott says, I got Commander on a personalities test and it said a natural leader. I believe that. So maybe you have a gift of influence. And I just want to encourage you to pray. Ask the Lord, because Big Booty Scott, you're like 13, aren't you? Ask the Lord to bring somebody into your life that can, a good Christian man, to mentor you toward developing your leadership skills. I want to encourage you toward that prayer. I want that for you. We need more leaders, and especially more young leaders, because young people have a level of compassion that drips away from us as we get older. We get angrier and angrier as we get older. My dad was in the U.S. military, says Big Booty Scott. Yeah, I heart our service members, because I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? And I think one thing that gets confused, there's two parts to the military. There's the people up high giving the instructions, like, you're going to go into this country and do these things. That is separate from the people who are actually going into the country, like the soldiers. I heart soldiers, no matter what branch you're in, because you don't know when you sign up if you're going to come out of that 4 years. You don't know. And the fact that you're willing to do it, whatever your reasons are, I encouraged both of my kids to join the military because I ain't paying for no college. And one of them's not going to college, right? The other one maybe after some time. But I mean, what? You make $40K your first year and you have no bills. So that's just $40K in the bank. Like, what? Big Booty Scott wants to be a sheriff. Boston! I remember you. Boston Sports Cards. You're our East Coast representative. Boston. That's what I'm calling you. So Big Booty Scott wants to be a sheriff. Yeah. So do it. And lead. We need more Christian people in solid Christians. We need Christians who are taking their faith walk seriously. We need more in public spaces. It's great that we go to church, but we need to be the pharmacist. We need to be teachers. We need to be certainly in law enforcement. We need to be everywhere and broad about it. That's why I encouraged you toward the prayer of an older man coming to mentor you, Scott. You know, because leadership skills are something you learn. Like, that you could be a natural leader. Like, you can have a proclivity toward rationale and strategy, but to manage people effectively, that's something you have to learn. Because if you take your own ideas of how to manage people, sheesh, you know, one of the first things I learned that I stand by is the strengths-based approach. Here, Scott, you can start with this. It's called the strengths-based approach. And what it is you just focus on what somebody is good at. So how this works out with children, if you have a kid that's kind of naughty in your classroom or whatever, and then one time they go throw out their garbage where they maybe wouldn't have, you make a comment about, oh, thanks for throwing that in the trash, or thanks for clearing off the chalkboard or whatever. You say that and you ignore the negative behavior. That's positive reinforcement. And so how this works in the workplace when you get into a management position, and Scott, this is you, or if you're going to be a sheriff and you're managing all these deputies, a strengths-based approach would be highlighting their strengths and then taking their weaknesses and molding them. You want to mold people's weaknesses, not make them feel bad about it. My mom's a teacher. This could help. Yeah. I was in education. I've been a social worker for like 15 years. And then you'll hear me talk about when I moved to California. I was like sick of working with kids, but ended up working with kids anyway in the education sector, which is why a lot of my interest is now the cross section between social work and education, because they're treated as two separate things. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why that is. I think it's changing a little bit in recent years with socio-emotional learning and whatnot. But, you know, my mom's a teacher. This could help. What are we talking about? Boston, we're talking about God's gifts that he gives us, his gifts and talents that he gives us. So the three overarching categories are a gift of speaking, a gift of service, and or a gift of influence. And Scott was saying that he had taken a test and it showed that he was a natural leader. And I was just telling him, like, yeah, develop develop those skills and he wants to be a sheriff, that's not an easy job. That's not an easy job. Like, people don't like the police for a reason. Some of it is very valid, right? And so we need more solid leaders in law enforcement so that we can return to we like the cops situation. I don't know who. I think it would be a healthier society if we could trust law enforcement. And it could start with you, Scott. It's not going to happen tomorrow. You know? So we need peace and police. Yeah. And we need Christ, right? Like, if we were forever looking upward, we would behave differently. If we were attempting to act Christ-like, our actions society would reflect that, and we would be better people. But that's not the case. We live in a sinful, fallen world. Some people take advantage of power, but we need people who care about all the same. Yeah, totally. But anyway, this was a good discussion today, guys. Welcome to the Secret Heart Club. Check out the podcast if you want, The Secret Heart. It's all of these live streams again. And, I'll be here tomorrow at 8:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'll talk to you guys later.